Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working on problem number 1002. It's called Find Common Characters. Now, most of the problems that I work on this channel are, most of the time, I've worked on them in the past. I have not worked on them in the past, but this is an exception because I worked on this problem back in 2020, so about 2 years ago. But I figured this was an easy level problem and I wanted to revisit some of the older problems that I worked on that I could not complete, and I added them to my favorites. So I'm just revisiting a few of them and trying to see if I can solve them. So this is an easy level problem. It goes given a string array of words, return an array of all characters that show up in all strings within the words, including duplicates. You may return the answer in any order. So the expectation is to return a list of strings of all the common characters inside the string. Um, So for example, we have the words array of Bella, label, and roller. And as you guys can see, the common characters that you see in the same occurrence numbers is ELL. So Bella has one E and then two L's. Label has one E and two L's. It also has like B and this B, but then as you guys can see, there's no B in here. This has two L's and one E, just like this right here. Same thing when here you have cool, lock, and cook. Each of them have one C, and each of them have two O's, but then this one only has one O. So let's take a look at the constraints. The constraints are 1 is less than or equal to words.length, which is less than or equal to 100. 1 is less than or equal to words index I dot length, which is less than or equal to 100, and words index I consists of only lowercase English letters. So there's not that many edge cases that we need to worry about besides what's given here already. It's a pretty straightforward question. All characters are going to be lowercase, so we don't have to worry about uppercase or lowercase differences. And the word string will never be null or empty. It will be at least a character 1. So the general steps is right off the bat, whenever I see something with strings and then finding commonalities, I think of hash maps or hash tables. What we can do is loop through the array of strings and find out, all right, what is the count of B and this string, the count of E, the count of L, and the count of A. Then, based on what I have in here, I loop through this and I check, all right, so let me think. Once we have one B, one E, two L's, and one A, every other word must either contain the same amount of letters or obviously less, right? So you have, then you come here and then you check, all right, how many L's do you have? So you make a count, two L's, and then one A and one B and one E. So the L count is the same. You compare the count. So you first make a hash map and that contains the count of each character. And then you loop through here and then you check what is the count of B. Count of B here is 1. The count of B here is 1. So you leave it as such. What is the count of L? The count of L is 2. So you leave that as such. But let's say the count of L was 1. Then you would reduce the count on this original hash map to 1 because you would pick the minimum. Then once you have that, you go to the next one and you have count 2 R's, 1 O, and then 2 L's. And once you have the count, then you compare that count with, alright, so the map that you created for these two, alright, what is the count of R? Alright, you see that the count of R in here is 2, but in here is 0, so you update R with count being 0. Then you do O. What is count of O in here? It's 1, but then you check what is the parent map. Well, the count in the parent map is O, so you update that in the parent map as O being 0. And then you continue with the map. So there's going to be one parent map that you're going to reference off of every time. And that's going to refer to the minimum. That's going to keep updating. So when you come here, you create a new map for each string, and then you compare that with the parent map. And if the parent map's count is less than or equal to, you just update whatever the min is. So if the minimum in here, so for example, let's say the parent map does not contain R, there's two options. Either you can add it to the parent map, or you can just leave it as is. Then we get to O. You check in the parent map, does the parent map contain O? No. Then you just don't add it. Then you come here and then you check, does the parent map contain L? Well, what is the count of L? It's 2, so you leave the count as here. So you need to create a mapping of each one and then loop through the map of the current array. Of the current string in the array, and then compare the minimum. So the general steps are, first make a hash map of the first word in the array, then loop through remaining index, loop through remaining words in array, and for each check, create a current word map and compare the map with the first map. If the count is less than or equal, then update the parent map with min. If the count or if the char in current map is not there, then don't add it to the parent map. And then in the end, we just return the times that each character occurred in the map parent. That's all. Okay, so first what we do is we create a hash map called parent, and it's going to contain character and integer for count. New hash map. And then for, well, let's just do, yeah, and equals, in the parent map, you just want to do the first one, right? Index 0 dot to char array. For char C, and then parent map dot put C, and then parent map dot get or default C 0, and then you just do +1, whatever the occurrence was. Then we do for int I equals 0, I is less than, actually for int I equals 1, I is less than words dot length I plus plus. After that, so we loop through here, and then we get char word array equals words index I dot char array, and in here we're just gonna loop through like something like this. And words array parent map dot put C parent map dot get or default C. Okay, once that is done, then what we do is we loop through. So we found the count for this, then we found the count for this. Then we loop through here, and then we check, all right, and what we want is, yeah, to update the parent map's counting, right? So for parent map dot key set, and that is going to be char C, because that contains character. If okay, so what it's going to be is int char count equals C dot, sorry, parent map dot get C. If oops, I made a mistake. I should have created char child map. Char child map, and in here we need to put char child map put get or default C01. Then you loop through here, and then you check if char child map dot contains key, or if char child map dot get C equals no, should be char child map dot get C. If char char count Um, so if Kyle, so what we need to do is this contains C, right? This will contain, so what you will do is parent map dot put C and then math dot min child count, or let's see, so it would be parent math dot get C. Okay. So for each child, we loop through. We start from index one, char words array word index I dot two char array, and then for each of those words, we basically just add to the cur child map with the count. Then we loop through the parent map, and then we get cur child count equals cur child map dot get parent map dot put C with math dot min cur child map dot count or parent map dot get C. Once that is done, what we need is to create a list of yeah, it's going to be a string output equals new array list, and what we need to do is get loop through the key set of the parent one thing I want to mention is if just so we don't get any empty, if parent map dot contains key C, sorry, if if child map dot contains key, then what we do is okay, that makes sense. So let's see. So if cur child map dot contains key, which is the C, and cur child map count equals, and then you just update the min. Okay, so parent map dot put math dot min cur child count, or parent map dot get C. Okay. Also, we just want to do if is greater than 0. Well, obviously, if it contains that key, so this is not necessary. Sorry. Let's see. So now we need to do is loop through the maps keys, and for each of the, and based on the count, we want to add that to the list. So for char C again map dot key set int char count equals map.get, and it's parent map.get c, while cur count is less than or it's greater than 0, then what we do is we do output.add c, and we do cur count minus, and in the end we return the output. Let's see, so let's just make sure we did this correct and we have no bugs. So we have parent map, char first word equals words index 0 dot 2 char array. So we get the first, and then we put an account of the parent map, and each character, then we create a hash map for the current child map. Then we start from here and then go towards the end. Cur words array equals words index I dot. So now it's going to convert this to an array. So now it's going to see, okay, now it's going to put all the cur words array and then cur child map. And actually this needs to be in here because we're going to create a new hash map for the cur child map, right? So now we put everything, then we loop through the parent map, and then we check, all right, does the cur child map contain, so then the parent map dot put. Then we come here, the next one, and then we create a new cur child map, then we put cur child map, and then we loop through, we create parent map dot put, then we create a string of output, and parent map dot key set. Then we get the count. While current map count is greater than 0, output.add, then in the end we return the output. Let's see if this works. So c dot to string. Char cannot be dereferenced. C string, it should be maybe like string dot value of. Why is it doing A, B, E, L, L? Okay, let's try to debug this real quick. I'm not sure why. So in the parent map, you have A1, B1, E1, and then L twice. Okay. Now you are in child map, you have A1, B1, E1, and then L2, just like the first one. If cur child map that contains C and cur child account equals which is 1, that's correct, parent map dot put, okay, that's fine. Then we talk about B is 1, I think I know what the problem is. If it does contain it, else what we need to do is parent, or what we can just do is C and not math.min, we need to update this to 0. Now let's see. Okay. And let's try to submit it. Okay, awesome. So this worked. Let's just go over the runtime. So the runtime of this is actually O of n plus for each one plus O of m. And the space time, because we're using a hash map twice, is O of n. Thanks so much for watching and take care.